Welcome to episode 20 of the Automation Podcast, brought to you by InsightsInAutomation.com. I'm Shawn, your host, and on today's show, we're going to talk about RSTechED 2014 and really cover all the basics of what this event is all about. So, what is it? How much is it? When and where is it? And what should you expect? That's what we're covering here today, and let's start off with how Rockwell describes the event in their own words. From RSTechED.com, they describe it as designed for end users, system integrators, distributors, partners, machine builders. RSTechED gives you a chance to work with the latest Rockwell automation products and technology in a classroom environment. Okay, in my words, RSTechED is all about training. There's really no trade show component like Automation Fair, and when you actually register for RSTechED, you build your week's training schedule from hundreds of different 1, 2, and 4 hour sessions. Now, some of those sessions are presentations, some of them are actually hands-on labs, and some of them are very technical sessions that go into the bits and bytes of a product. Now, this ability to choose only the sessions you're interested in is huge, and it makes it a great choice for any electricians or electrical and control engineers out there who use Rockwell Automation products and need to be up to speed on the latest developments. Now, how much is it and who can attend? Well, as we heard earlier, anybody can attend, really, but it is not free like Automation Fair. The early bird price for RSTechED is $11.99 if you register by May 15th, which is today. If you register after May 15th, then you'll have to pay the full price of $14.99. Now, if you're a partner of Rockwell and you're already paying to be in one of their partner programs, you may already have half tuition or full tuition paid as part of your partner program, which you have purchased for this year. And if you're a distributor partner, because RSTechED actually started off as distributor-only training many years ago, if you are a PLC HMI or software specialist, you can attend for no tuition fee at all. Although you still have all your normal travel expenses, which everybody who attends RSTechED will have. You know, you get to fly there, you got to get a hotel room, and et cetera, et cetera. So, what does the price of tuition include? Well, for the price of admission, you can attend as many sessions as you can cram in over the 4.5 days of RSTechED. Including this year, there's a new session that's a Sunday-only session. So it's really 5.5 days if you want to fly in Saturday night and attend the Sunday session, which is an all-day Factory Talk View SE Design and Deploy class. Very limited seating, so you'd want to sign up for that ASAP if you're interested in doing that Sunday session as well. Now, also included in tuition is a Sunday night reception. Last year's was really nice out in San Diego. They had great food, they had open bar, and it was just an excellent time to network and meet and catch up with people. As well as Tuesday night, Rockwell has something they call the Ed Fest, which is a big dinner and usually some entertainment. Last year we had food stations spread throughout a aircraft carrier where the event was held. So you could walk around, check out all the different airplanes and helicopters and check out the ship while you're enjoying the good food and good drinks. Now, having attended in person myself for several years, I can tell you that both these events are very well attended and they are great times to network with either colleagues in the industry or Rockwell personnel who attend these events. So highly recommended that you attend both of them if you are going to go to RSTechED. Besides the Sunday night and Tuesday night evening dinner events, attendees are also treated to a free buffet breakfast and lunch included as part of their admission. Every year the food seems to get better and better. You never know what this year is going to be like, but I'll tell you what, I think you'd be hard-pressed not to eat the breakfast and lunch buffet, which is included as part of the tuition cost. Now, Monday morning, there is typically a general session for all attendees where a speaker from Rockwell Automation gets up and talks about what's going on with the company and what's going on this week in RSTechED. Then Tuesday morning, there's another general session where a guest speaker gives a talk, and these guest speakers have included people who have climbed Mount Everest, people who have gone into space as an astronaut, people who have crossed the Sahara Desert and lived to talk about it, and they're usually extremely good. I know a lot of people have skipped these in the past. I highly recommend you don't. There's even been retired pro football quarterbacks who have given talk. So it's typically a real treat to sit in on the Tuesday morning session. So make sure you get a good night's sleep on Monday night. Okay, so now when and where is RSTechED? Well, this year RSTechED is from Sunday the 15th of June through Friday the 20th of June. And it's being held down in Orlando, Florida, which is really good for me because I live in the Northeast, and that means I'll typically get a direct flight there, and it'll be a quick flight, 3.5 hours max. Now, last year, of course, it was held in San Diego, as I already said, and Rockwell tries to do that. They try to bounce it back and forth between the West Coast and the East Coast every couple of years. Okay, now let's talk about what you should expect when you get there. So you've signed up online, you picked all your courses, you paid for your tuition, and now you're arriving in. Well, the first thing you want to do is when you get there Sunday, you want to pick up your badge and your welcome kit. Usually includes things like a polo shirt and a notebook and your course schedule and a program guide for the week's events. This is key because I'll tell you what, it just really stinks to have to rush around Monday morning to pick it up. Usually the desk where they give out the welcome packets is open from 6 to 8 p.m. on Sunday night, so I highly recommend you try to get to the hotel before 7 so that you'll have enough time to get that, and then return to your room, drop it off, and head down to the welcome reception so you can enjoy a free drink and relax with your colleagues. Now, come early Monday morning, you have the buffet breakfast. Then you typically have a big room where you can sit and eat breakfast and wait for the general session to start. Note, don't wait to the last minute to get your breakfast because, number one, they start clearing the breakfast right away, and number two, you want to make sure you get a seat with a table. Some years, all the seats with tables fill up quickly, and you could end up having your breakfast in your lap. So, depending on how the layout is this year, you want to make sure you get down there in plenty of time to grab your breakfast, grab a coffee or a glass of orange juice, and get a good seat for the morning's general session. Next, as soon as the general session is done, you'll be heading off to your first class. You want to go directly to your first class. Typically, there's a line at the door to get into your session about 10 minutes before it opens. And typically, you can't get in any earlier either because the session prior to that is still getting out. Not with the first class on Monday morning, but every class after that. So, get there early, have your badge ready. They scan you to go in to ensure that you are registered for that class, and then you'll want to grab a seat. Now, if you're in a hands-on lab, you'll want to get in there as soon as possible because you'll want to have your choice of equipment to use. A lot of times, the last couple of people who get in will get it, the overflow seats where they won't actually be able to drive the computer or play with the hardware. They'll really just be looking on. So if hands-on class especially, try to get there as early as possible. Now, if there's a class you really want to attend and it's booked, show up and they'll likely put you on a waiting list. So they'll queue you off to one side. And as the session begins, if everybody hasn't shown up, they'll give away those seats to anybody who's in the waiting queue. The other thing you want to do when you get to these sessions is if you find out that the session you're sitting in is quite different than you imagined, don't sit through the whole thing if you're not interested in it. Quietly slip out, go to a session kiosk, and look and see what else is open at that time. That way, you can just add that to your list, walk over to that session. Yeah, you'll be a few minutes late, but they'll be able to scan you in, and you'll be able to walk right into that new session and at least get the majority of that versus sitting in a session that you're not very much interested in. I don't know why, but it always seems to happen that at least once a year, I've chosen a session that the title gave me a different impression than what the actual class turned out to be, so I find myself bagging it early and going to a session kiosk and looking for something else to sit in on. All right, I'm going to wrap up the podcast now with some final thoughts about RSTechED. First of all, it is a phenomenal training event. Why? Because you're picking your classes a la carte from over 130. So you're guaranteed to only attend the classes you have actual interest in. Also, many of us already have the tuition included as part of doing business with Rockwell. If you're an end user, then you'll have to pay. But if you're already paying to be an OEM, SI, or distributor partner, then you likely have that tuition included in part of that annual cost you pay. For end users, treat this as a formal training class. This is great for those people who need to get a broad brush of different training on different topics versus sitting in a class that's all about one subject. So RSTechED for the $1,200, or if you sign up later, $1,500, is substantially less than any 5-day class you'll find on automation anywhere else. And you also get food included, you get a couple of evening dinners included, and it's just a great way to network with other controls people who use Rockwell Automation and Allen Bradley products. Well, that's it for this episode of the Automation Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections about RSTechED or the Automation Podcast, please don't hesitate to leave them with us at theautomationpodcast.com. And you can always stay up to date with all the Insights websites by visiting insightsandautomation.com. I'm your host, Shawn Tierney. I hope you enjoyed the show, and until next time, peace.